Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina!
A total of 6 episodes for this series, 6 episodes for 60 years of dispossession and being refugees. There's a lot to say, but one thing I want to bring to your attention, why we make films, why we talk about the Nakba, why we talk about what happened 60 years ago on the Palestinian side of things. It's very important, and this is something I've come to really appreciate in actually doing this work and going around and filming and looking up archival material and trying to find photographs and documents and all of these things. On the Israeli side, and on most sides of history, in the end what happens is you have a state that creates institutions to preserve memory, that creates institutions to document, to archive, to collect oral history, to collect photographs, to collect films, to collect all of this information for the purpose of preservation, memory, for educating your future generations. For the Palestinian people, they don't have a state, and that's of course part of the struggle today, as has been the struggle for 60 years. They don't have, as a result, many of the institutions that all of us, I think, otherwise take for granted. And even in dysfunctional states, there's still a state that exists to collect this information, to do this work. And for the Palestinians, they don't even have a dysfunctional state, really. So it's important for all of us who are engaged to really sit down and listen and hear the stories of people who have experienced what they've experienced in order to collect, in order to preserve, in order to make known, and ultimately in order to pass on to the next generations. And that's what we see our role with making this episode was to do that. It's also, for us, not an end point. The Nakba didn't end in 1948 or 1949 when it happened. It's still going on today. And so this first episode we don't see as something that's isolated in the past of 60 years, but as something that's an introduction to what happened 30 years ago in Lebanon, what happened 20 or 15 years ago, sorry, 18 years ago in Kuwait, what's happening over the last 5 years in Iraq to Palestinians. We see this as a repetition of the experience from the perspective of the refugees. So with that, we'll turn the first episode on, and I'll be here for questions afterwards. Thank you.